then I started thinking, you know, I don't think I've ever seen any other voice actors cosplay as their characters. So I contacted the other voice actors in Full Metal Alchemist and said, would you be interested in being a part of this? And they were like, heck yes, we would. So they all made their own costumes. And we got together in Houston, Texas one weekend, and we shot something called Full Metal Fantasy. It's a live action parody of Full Metal Alchemist with the voice actors playing their characters. The only time I ever showed it was at a convention, in my panel maybe, or, especially if I had a nice setup like this, or when I did a live concert. Do you see where this is going? So as I was putting together this live concert DVD, I thought, you know, maybe now would be a good time to make Full Metal Fantasy available to the fans, because it was never available. So I've got a handful of concert DVDs at my table as well, and they have this great live concert with all this great music from different anime series and original music, and Full Metal Fantasy. So if that sounds like something you'd like to take home with you, come down after the panel to my table, my autograph table, and I'll have them there. Okay? Who has a question? Yes, my dear. Hi.
First off, thank you for coming to Keystone Comic-Con.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for coming to Keystone Comic-Con.
Because I saw you probably 4 years ago at J1Con, and everyone take advantage, because the show there, it was about 1/4 the size of this room. I could not get into the door. So we're in a big theater. Ask any questions you want. But I digress. My question is, I enjoyed all your roles, but for the more recent roles, how was it playing what I call Sexy Grandpa Abishi Short in Vic Mignogna, and on the opposite end, playing the ultimate detective Rampo Edogawa in Bungo Stray Dogs?
You know what? I'm glad that you mentioned those, because as an actor, the most fun thing to do are things that are not you, right? It's really fun to play characters that are not just you being you, that sound like you, that are you. I always love playing characters that are different, and I really love it when people don't immediately recognize my voice, whether it's Crow in Ruby,
nope, I read.
which is, I totally forgot, I'm obviously still working on Ruby. Yeah, plenty of Ruby, but you know, Uncle Crow doesn't typically sound like me. Uncle Crow's more like this, okay, kiddo, right? So it's fun to play something that's different. So the character that you mentioned, Sexy Grandpa, was really fun. But then Rampo is so fun. I loved him. He's kind of what's the word? He's kind of a little ADD. You know what I mean? Like he's just kind of I don't even know what the word is, but I love how he's kind of obsessive compulsive, kind of OCD, and I love him. I think he's adorable, and I'm glad that you mentioned it, because I really enjoyed both those guys. Question? Yes, sir.
What was the hardest character for you?
The hardest character to voice was definitely a physically hard character, not emotionally. I mean, I enjoy the challenge of playing characters that are that have a lot of emotional highs and lows. That's part of the fun of acting. But the only difficult characters for me were characters that were difficult on my voice, physically. And that, without question, is Broly from Dragon Ball Z. Because everybody who's ever watched Dragon Ball Z knows that it's 1 minute of talking and 29 minutes of screaming and fighting and powering up, right? And I'm sure somebody wants to ask about the new movie that's coming out. Well, that's fine. You can ask. I will tell you that I'm very excited that Broly is being made canon, He deserves it. As far as whether I'm playing the role or not, I better be. I can't answer that officially, but I will tell you that I sure as hell better be. I'm the only English voice of Broly. I've played him for 15 years, 3 movies, 13 video games. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm hoping to get to be a part of it. Question? Yes, my dear. Oh, good. Yay! You know, people ask me that a lot. Who's your favorite character that you play? Well, for the longest time, I tried to be very diplomatic with that answer. If this amazing cosplayer walks up to me and goes, "Who's your favorite character?" I'm looking the cosplayer over and I'm like, oh my God, wouldn't they love it if I said Junpei from Persona? She'll be like, oh yeah, da-da-da-da, Junpei is my favorite. And then if somebody else walks up dressed as Yuki from Vampire Knight and says, who's your favorite character? I'm thinking, wouldn't she love it if I said Zero? Right? And so I always have been the kind of person to love to indulge fans based on what they like. But after one specific event took place in my life, that all changed. And that significant event was recording the last line of the last episode of Brotherhood. When I recorded that last monologue of Ed's, as he got on the train, said goodbye to Winry, I was so overcome with emotion, with the realization that I probably wasn't going to do that character again. After 2 full series and OVAs and movies and video games, I probably wouldn't get to play it again. And at that point, I kind of had to concede to myself that Ed was probably the favorite thing that I've ever done. He's a great character in a great show. I mean, I've played a lot of really great characters, but the shows weren't that good, right? Or played a lot of mediocre characters in some really great shows. But to have both, to have a great character in a great show, surrounded by other great actors, in a great story that's told great, that's a real privilege. You could conceivably be a voice actor your entire life and never get to play a character like Edward Elric. You know, it's kind of like Mark Hamill. You know, he could be an actor his whole life and never get to play freaking Luke Skywalker. You know what I mean? That's a once-in-a-lifetime gig right there. You know? So I'm extremely grateful to have been a part of Full Metal, and I love that a lot. Yes, sir. I'm gonna guess you had a question because you went from back there. I would have called on you back there, dude.
No, but Eli, my question is, if you were not doing voice acting, like those 2 movies that were the low budget ones, like Sin the movie and The Generator Crawl, I can't say correctly. Those things were ADV, since their movies were like terrible, or TV series. If you didn't got any like bigger voices actors, like from our
Right.
what would you be doing then?
I would be doing what I was doing before I started voice acting, which is music, writing and producing music. I wrote hundreds of jingles for ad agencies and TV commercials. It pays really good. And then I produced records for other singers and artists. I also did video and film production work because of my degree in film. Somebody would hire me to shoot a promo video, or hire me to shoot a music video, or hire me to make an instructional video for their company. That's what I was, and I would be acting. I'd probably be doing it for free, but I would still be doing it because the things that I do, I really love doing. So those are the things, I would be doing those things, trying to pay my bills as best I could, doing the things that I love doing. Yes, sir. Wait, didn't you have a question? Did you ask one already? Okay, let's spread it around just a little bit, and I'll come back to you. Yes, my dear.
Okay, so there's been a lot of like YouTube shows coming out. Is there a show you
Yeah.
just haven't done again?
Oh, Oron High School needs to have a second season. Without question. Oron High School needs a second season. Everybody knows it, and I'm just waiting for some company to make it. We love Oron. Everybody that was involved in Oron loves Oron. I would love to see another season of that. It's really interesting, too, that so many old shows are being rebooted. Like Full Metal Panic. I did that show years ago, played Kurtz Weber in Full Metal Panic. I loved it. Sayuki. There was a show years ago called Sayuki, and I played a character named Kugaji, and that show came back. I just did a character for, I think it's a Netflix thing, but it's Saint Seiya, which was an old show years ago that I played characters in. And it's interesting that a lot of those shows are being rebooted. I don't know what somebody's waiting for, as far as Oron's concerned. I don't know what they're waiting for. I mean, the manga continued, and it's got a huge fan base. It didn't do that well in Japanese. It might interest you to know. It did not do that well in Japanese. It did much better in English. So I think that maybe the Japanese company that made the original is like, yeah, it didn't do too good, Why would we make another one? Well, an English company should make another one because the English audience really enjoyed it. Question? Yes, Junpei.
Out of anything you've ever done, like the music, acting, voice acting, production, anything, what's kind of one of the most like WTF moments you've ever had that made you kind of be like, oh, what in the world's going on?
I'm very grateful to tell you that I've had many. I've had many WTF moments. I certainly don't want to wax religious, and I won't. But I would be remiss not to thank God for the opportunities in my life. I didn't plan anything that happened to me. If you do all this groundwork and all this research and all of this hard work and all of this knocking on doors and sending demos out, you know what I mean, and all that kind of thing, just work really hard, you kind of feel like, yeah, I earned this. You know what I mean? I did all the work. I made this happen. But I didn't do any of that. I was just acting since I was very young, and a door opened in front of me, and I stepped through it. I had no idea what was on the other side. Somebody gave me an opportunity to act. And that's all I really wanted to do. And it was to play Vega in Street Fighter 2. And I never thought anything would come of it. And everything has come of it. So I'm very, very careful to give credit where credit is due. And that's to God, because I didn't do this. I'm extremely grateful. I've had many, many WTF moments. So many. I can't even zero in on one, you know what I mean? Because they're just like so many. I'll name a couple. The chance to fly around the world. Be paid to fly around the world. Like go to Australia and meet fans. The fact that I even have any fans in Australia, right? And they will fly me there and sign autographs and meet people